Hello. So I want to share my fourth DMT experience with you. It's a pretty deep experience. It's the deepest I've ever gotten into myself on DMT, and this is pretty rich with lessons that I wasn't anticipating I would receive, and I'm just so grateful to have been able to receive them. So excited to share it with you, but also a little tentative and scared to be allowing myself to be that vulnerable. So if I feel a little slow in my delivery, that is why. I made some notes so that I wouldn't forget, so I might have to reference some of those because I really want to make sure that the whole experience is communicated. I wrote a lot of it down after my journey, and then a little bit of it a couple days after that, so it's been about 5 days or so, and I already feel the details lifting out of my memory, so I really want to get this out there so that it's fresh and instilled, and that the energy behind it is can be crystallized in video format. So basically it starts off in a very similar space, a two-dimensional space. I know nothing of the third dimension. I have no ego. I am an observer here. I'm looking at what looks to be kind of like a very beautiful art. I'm just in a place of appreciating the beauty and how it's like a live art installation that's just sort of creating itself with through my emotions. So I'm just in that space for a while, observing my own emotions and feelings through visual experience of it. And then it's hard to describe what it looks like because I don't remember really anymore. Just lots of shapes and textures and color, and it all just feels very right and authentic, and it feels like me. Then this character comes around. I'm not exactly sure where he came from. Basically, I'm just looking at a rectangular screen, or a rectangle for a while. Not really aware of the fact that there's space around it, but I'm aware now that it's a rectangle. And there's this guy, and he's kind of standing on the one wall, and he's kind of just like leaning up against it, implying something to do with depth, but I don't quite understand it. And he's happy to see me. He's like, hey, it's you. How's it going? He's happy to see me. Very joyful, playful, energy about him. He wants to show me something. So he's like, hey, come over here. I got something for you. I gotta show you something. So my attention goes really into this person. And he goes and grabs onto the side of the wall. Oh no, sorry, I'll get to that in a second. He sort of just grabs onto his elbow like this, and then he opens up his arm like this, and between the elbow and the tip of his finger is like a string that forms, or several strings, and along those strings are little letters and numbers and equations, symbols and things like that. It contains information. I'm very clear that there's information there that he's sharing with me. I can't interpret what that information is. The best that I can do is interpret that it's beautiful. And he's aware that he's showing something to me in an attempt to entertain me, and he's kind of making fun of himself for being an entertainer without actually saying that. He's sort of jovial in his spirit. He does a few other sort of postures and things with his hands. Specifically, he does something like this, and just like there are strands that are pulled apart from his hands, and he just sort of shows me the space between his hands, and it's like cat's cradle or whatever, like the strings connecting to his fingers, and again like a web, interconnected web with like symbols and letters and numbers and things. And he's just like, hey, and he's making fun of it. He's like, look at this, it's so beautiful. And then he gets really serious for a second. He goes like this, and then he separates his hands and shows it to me again, but this time he's just a little more serious, and then he's not serious anymore. He's just like, like he just sort of like puts that away. And then when he puts that away, he grabs onto the side of the rectangle that he was leaning on, which is like the side of the screen, like right now, and he just pulls that away. He opens it up and he shows that there is this rich depth. So this is the wall, and he goes like this. So now I'm looking at the insides, between two layers of reality. I'm looking at the insides there, like in here. And that kind of blows my mind, because I had no idea that there were other layers of reality. And he's like, oh yeah, there are other layers here. Like, check out that texture. And he's sort of pointing to all the like the tenderly textury things going on, and they're all purple and ruffly and beautiful. Again, I'm appreciating it like it's art. I'm not sure in hindsight that I'm doing that properly or correctly, or that I just don't have the equipment to interpret the depth of that. But anyways, so I'm still looking at it like taking so much from it. Wow, this is beautiful, you know? So then he leans back against the wall, and then the wall sort of tips back, is like just like falls back, and he looks back stumbling like, whoa. But he knows how this world works, so he's not really shocked. He's showing me something. So that wall collapses, and then reveals that there's more space and many more rooms behind him, and then he bumps into the side wall, and that wall collapses, and that opens up into another room. He's just like, whoa, whoa, and he's just sort of like whirling around it back there. And then as he's going into the distance, he's like getting smaller and smaller and smaller. He's like, I want you to meet my friend. And then he points over to my left. He doesn't say any of these things. He just kind of like sends me that message. And so I look to my left, and then it's like my whole vision is consumed by this girl's face. And she's like very, very pale and very big eyes and like light purple hair. And she comes up to me and she's like, shh. And then she goes, and then just like wipes everything away. And it's like everything that I was looking at is gone, and now it's just like color. And it's all like pale and pastel. And for a second I remember that I've done DMT, and I'm wondering if I'm coming back to this reality. I'm wondering if I got dismissed. Kind of felt for a second that I was dismissed, or had the opportunity to be dismissed or dismiss myself. I'm standing in this in-between realm, very pastel-y, not a lot of detail, but there's this very sliver, this small window happening here that kind of looks like it makes me think of a belly button when I look at it. And it's really white, and I'm sort of in front of it, I guess. I'm not standing because there's no physical awareness, but I'm perceiving this thing, and she is now just sort of speaking to me through my through some channel. She's not even there. And she's like, do you want to know what love is? And I was like, I felt like I was surrendering when I said yes. And I think I said yes out loud. And she says, do you want to feel what love is on all levels? And I was like, yes. And she was like, are you sure? And I was, again, yes, I'm sure. Okay. And then she just has this really like simple, and it just feels like she just took her finger and like flicked me. It's like this small little movement. And then I was like, whoa! And it felt like I was falling down that belly button tunnel. And so as I was falling through that like light vessel, what's happening to my physical body is I'm just kind of like curled up in a ball, and I feel like I'm plummeting. But with that, I'm also feeling the most rich, all-consuming love I've ever felt, ever in my whole life. My whole body is filling up with energy from my toes up into my, my hips, up through my stomach, into my heart, and in my arms and my face. Everything is just lit up. And it feels like every single one of my cells are having an orgasm, one after another. And with every single cell that's being lit up, I am like I'm feeling it all. I'm feeling all of it. And my physical body is like sort of in a posture like I am having an orgasm. Like my body, my chest is really, I have my chest open, and I feel like I'm just asking for a download into my heart. Like I'm asking for this to like just I had my hand here for a minute and I was pushing, and then I opened my chest up and I was just completely wanting to receive it entirely. And then what happened after that? So hold on, sorry, I've got to check these notes. After that, my body fills up with energy. Yeah, and then I get to this place where I'm kind of just like, it's like not really an ending. It's like honestly, it's like the longest orgasm I've ever experienced in my life, which is not ending. I get into this place where it's like, oh, do you want more? Like, do you want to feel this more? It doesn't feel like a sexual thing. I really want to stress it doesn't feel sexual. It feels like all-consuming love. So much love. Like, I can't even express it in language. And I said yes, but when I said yes, I knew what more meant, and more didn't necessarily mean that it was going to feel like that. So, do you want more? Do you want to feel all of it? And I said yes. And then in that, my physical body, I was actually tucked into a ball again when she was asking me, like, do you want more? And I was kind of closed off. So I realized I had to open myself up to receive this. So I put my legs down, you know, and I put my arms at my side, and I just like was whimpering. And I think I anticipated something really hard, because I knew that what she was going to show me is the depths of heartache. And so that's where we went. We went right into what heartache feels like, and despair, and loneliness, and just torture, like just suffering, all of the really hard stuff. And so I just laid there with my arms out like this, just letting myself receive what all of that feels like. With the dual understanding that I'm also receiving love. That love that I was receiving before is also blanketing it. It's like all of it is love. So it's a difficult thing to endure, but it's all coming from the same source. So I'm just kind of like falling through again. I feel like I'm falling through this belly button of infinite love, and infinite pain. I'm experiencing all of it at once. I'm experiencing ecstasy and despair, and I'm experiencing how it feels to just compress those two, and just be in the center of it. So that is, I think at this point is when I'm kind of bawling my face off. I'm not super clear on what was going on with my physical body, but I knew I cried a few times. But it still felt really amazing. It felt like my whole body was charging from the experience, like I was repairing my own metaphors in my waking life as well, which I'll tell you about after this. What else? Sorry, the details have slipped away. It's only 5 days and it's already slipping away. I'm really glad I made these notes. Side a river. Okay, so after I received the kind of download of hey, this is these two things, and this is all love, and that's you, and that's yours, and there you go, are you ready for this? And we're gonna finish this off now. And she just kind of like pushed me into the rest of the tunnel, which was just like wrapping it all up, just love, 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 love. And inside of this was pretty amazing. I'm laying with my body and I'm aware of my physical body. I can move as well. She's telling me to harness it. So I bring my hand up like this, and I feel my hand moving the light inside of my own body. I can feel just myself moving that charge that I was feeling, that sort of ecstatic, blissful love stuff that was happening to my whole body, and I could control it. So I moved it in this like light tunnel up into my heart and then down into my arms, and I was just like opening it, bringing it into my head, and like directing it, you know. It was like I was doing Reiki on myself in this space. My hands were like buzzing, and it just communicating where the light needed to go. And so then I just sort of moved it, like let it all balance and flow through my body. And then I cried again, but in knowing that this is extremely rare and beautiful experience that I just had, and so this is a cry of gratitude. And I knew that it was time now, that I would be going back, and I start falling through this tunnel again, but she's not there anymore, and I start sort of falling into this kind of knowing that I'm coming back to the third dimension. There's a bit of sadness in there, and a bit of grasping, because I know I don't want to forget any of this. And I come back to it, and you know, my face is wet with tears, and I've just had this most invigorating experience. And I look to my left, and I have these two friends who are just they were just sitting there, and you know, they weren't looking at me, which was really nice of them, but I no doubt experienced a lot physically with them beside me. And I asked my friend later, like, okay, that felt like an actual like full body orgasm for like the whole trip pretty much, and I'm just wondering, like, did it look like that's what was happening to me? And he said, yeah, that's what it looked like. So I'm a little embarrassed about that, but it's okay. Oh yeah, and at the end, sorry, I went like this and it just reminded me, at the end of the trip, before I got pushed down into the very end of the tunnel, at the very last, when I was coming out of my DMT experience, I brought my hands up to my chest like this, and I was just like, you know, I just felt like this is the right thing to do, which I never do really. It just felt like infinite gratitude, like, you know, I felt like bowing to her, and yeah, that's when that was like my parting, and that's when I went back and then arrived in the third dimension. So yeah, at that point I needed, like, honestly hours and hours to decompress and sort of integrate what just happened there. I needed to talk about it for hours, and one of my friends had actually just experienced something for himself, a DMT experience he was also processing, so it's kind of a strange space to be in post trip, because I think what's really important is that the space is conducive to, you know, pulling things apart, dismantling them, talking about them, or just journaling about it, you know, making sure it gets instilled somewhere. So that's what ended up happening. We just walked our bikes all the way home, went our separate ways, you know, and then I passed out not long after that because I just felt completely drained, but I journaled a little bit before. He passed out too, and we both just slept forever, like such a long time. So so yeah, that's the experience. That's it. That's what happened. And I wish I had recorded this video a little earlier, because the energy of it would have been a little more fresh. But yeah, I still think that was a pretty decent, like, recap of what happened. And I don't feel like it's going to be happening, you know, anytime soon. Maybe a month, maybe a few months. I'm not sure. Who knows? But what I was talking about with the metaphor, and how that belly button tunnel thing was an actual, like a band-aid for a very deep wound that I have in my soul, which it gets opened up every time I experience heartache in my life, which I am kind of moving through currently. And what my heartache currently feels like is a groove here. Like, first, like a few weeks ago, it felt like I was walking around with a knife in my chest. That's gone now. Like, that searing pain is gone, and now it's just like the knife is gone, but then there's this groove here. It's like there's just deep indent, like about like as deep as my fingers. Like, it feels like I could go like this if I want to. I feel like I'm walking around with that, you know. So every once in a while I'll feel this flicker and this twinge of pain or heartache, and I don't stay there anymore. What happens is that belly button tunnel, like, of love fits itself perfectly into that space, and just, you know, it doesn't plug it up, you know, like a plug, because the tunnel is like got an opening there, so that opening can stay there. It's fine. It's just gonna coat the inside of it with love, so, and light. So every time I find myself in the loop, in that I guess sensational loop of experiencing thoughts and emotions that are connecting me to, you know, memories of a loss, or thoughts of a loss, or stories that are being created around, you know, losing a person that I care about, there is this beautiful metaphor that it has inserted itself into the whole picture, which makes it that much more bearable, which is so beautiful. And, you know, I think I must be doing something right if I've received that kind of that kind of pressure. If I could have that kind of pressure released every single time I have it on me, it's a really beautiful gift. That's another thing that I was being told throughout the trip. Every time that I was experiencing a wave of that, she was like, "This is a gift. This is a gift," and I would say, "Thank you." You know, like with my heart, "Thank you, thank you." Then I was aware inside of one of these really big, like, rises in my body, when my body was like surging up like this. And I was aware of my body, physical body, for a second, and that other people were perceiving this, or aware of this, and I got embarrassed for receiving this love dose. And she said, "This is a gift," and what she meant by that was, it's a gift for them. You know, in being able to see me enact this, so and be in such a vulnerable state, it's teaching them something as well. So that felt really nice as well. So anyways, there it is. I finally accomplished it in full video format without cutting it or stopping it. Thank you so much for listening. Yeah, I hope that my experience offers you something, and I hope you continue to watch these videos. I'm gonna start posting a few more. I think I've learned how to do this a bit faster. Maybe these videos are getting longer, so who knows? It could be another week or so before this actually shows up in the digital realm. But yeah, again, thank you so much for your attention and for taking the time, and I will continue to update you as things come through, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.